Very warm welcome to the Athlone Toastmasters meeting. This is 25th of January, our second meeting of the new year. Our first meeting was an open evening, and we had Frankie Kina, who is the chairperson of Westmeath County Council, who came. It was a great meeting, and it was good to have him in the meeting. This is our second meeting, and I'll just share the agenda. This is what our agenda is. Are you able to see the screen? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
And thank you very much to our VP Education, Anna Howard, for setting up this agenda. And she has put in this, keep your face always toward the sunshine and shadows will fall behind you. That's Walt Whitman. Amazing quote. I think this is the kind of world we are in. It is a world of duality. We don't understand the value of sunshine unless we know darkness. We don't understand the value of happiness unless we know sorrow. It's quite an amazing world of duality we live in. And therefore, we can always appreciate the positive. And this appreciation of the positive is what helps us in our growth. And this pandemic time has been really a time when the resilience of each and every one of the people in this world has been tested. And everyone has come out with flying colors. So congratulations. And the announcement that came in recently from the Taoiseach about loosening of the restrictions has helped, I think, in terms of bringing some kind of normalcy back. So hopefully, let's see, maybe we can have face-to-face and hybrid meetings, and it'll be great to go back to some kind of normalcy, pre-pandemic normalcy. With that, I would like to hand over our virtual gavel to the Toastmaster of the evening, Sanjeev Kumar. Sanjeev is a new member, very enthusiastic member. He has done around 3 or 4 speeches, I think, by now. It's only a few months he has joined, and he has taken up lots of roles. So congratulations, Sanjeev, and over to you to run this meeting. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Shamesh. Thanks a lot. So hope I'm audible to everyone. Yeah. So firstly, I'll be thankful for everyone to provide me this role. So my role is to overall take care of the meeting, and it's so I'd like to first introduce the roles holder today. So for today, role holders is Shumesh as a topic master and Shaivan as a general evaluator. A Graminian role, Antoinette is a Graminian role, and I think David Dolan was on timer role, but it is replaced by yeah. So I just forget the name.
Guy right here with his one up.
Yeah, sorry, Daniel. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so you are the topic timer role. Yeah. So first, I'd like to start with the Shaivan, who will introduce her roles for today, and then we'll move towards the other role holders one by one.
Thank you very much, Sanjeev. So my role for this evening is that of general evaluator. And what that means is I'm going to evaluate the meeting in its entirety, because what we aim to do all the time is to improve. And it's only by practicing and doing particular roles that we get to improve. So as general evaluator, I evaluate everything except the actual speeches themselves. So the prepared speeches have their own evaluators, and I will evaluate the evaluators of the speeches. So I'm looking forward to a very positive meeting, and I think we're already off to a great start. So back to you, Sanjeev.
Yeah, thanks, Shaivan, for the introduction. So now I'll be requesting the grammarian of today is Antoinette to introduce herself, talk about her roles and responsibility for today's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. as grammarian for the meeting, I'll be paying close attention to the members' use of English, and I'll be listening out for examples of some nice and good language used during the meeting. I'll also be keeping account of the various words that we use, kind of crutch words, words we tend to use if you have a gap or a space, such as and you know, words like that. And I'll also introduce a word of the day. So the idea of the word of the day is that the members try to use that word whenever they can throughout the meeting. So for the meeting this evening, the word of the day is affable. And that word affable means being pleasant and at ease in talking to others. And it can be used as follows. The affable owner of the restaurant can be seen most nights welcoming his guests and making light conversation. So I'll put that word up in the chat now, and I'll report back at the end of the meeting. Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster.
Yeah, thank you very much, Antoinette. So now I'd request Somesh to introduce his role. He's a topic master for today.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster. I've got a great pleasure to be the topics master of this meeting. What we do is we put in one topic. I would ask one topic to a person, and they have 2 minutes to answer the topic. And then some others can volunteer to answer the same topic, and they will have 1 minute. So we are saying that follow-ups, maximum of 2 follow-ups would be good. More than that would mean that people have got too much of time to think on the topic. So the whole concept of impromptu speaking will not be properly implemented if we do that. So with that, and I would try and ask the topic to the people who are not speaking a lot, so that everyone gets the proper airtime in terms of expressing their opinions. With that, I would like to start the topic session, and we would go on for around until 8:55. So it's around 8:25, around 30 minutes topic session. So I wanted to ask about the contemporary subject that I spoke in the beginning, and that was about the loosening of restrictions that Taoiseach announced, the Prime Minister announced on Friday evening. What do you think about that, Antoinette?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I think that the announcement was widely expected, but a lot of people were actually very surprised that it was happening so quickly. 6 a.m. Saturday morning, nearly everything was gone. And about 2 weeks ago, we were all very, I suppose, reluctant to join groups or crowds, and we were all watching what we should have been doing very carefully. So the speed of it all hit people very quickly, but there was a lot of delight, and Saturday evening, all of the towns and cities were packed with people out, and it made the news that evening, and you could see the delight and relief on a lot of people's faces, the business owners, the pubs, the restaurants, thrilled to see a chance at getting back some of their business that they had suffered greatly during the last number of years. Nightclubs that had only temporarily got back were suddenly all free to open again. And I suppose we could balance that then with the other side. A lot of people were, I suppose, merely taken aback that it was all happening so quickly. Some people maybe felt that it was just maybe a bit too much too soon, and they were kind of a bit reluctant. I suppose it depends on your circumstances. If you had an underlying condition or maybe someone vulnerable at home, you might have been maybe a little bit surprised. But I would say overall, it was very good news for the country, and it is a chance for us all to try and move back towards living like we did 2 years back. The big challenge now, I feel, will be the return to work. There's a lot of thought on how that might happen. This phased return to work will be very difficult for some people. If you didn't work in the office at all for the last couple of years, it's a big change now to maybe have to try and head back in. Some people are mad to get back in, miss all the social side of it and all of that, and can't wait to meet their colleagues. And then others have nearly organized their lives now around being able to be at home. So I think it was met overall with delight, but some reservations from some. But at least we're moving in the right direction. Thank you very much, Mr. Topics Master.
Any follow-ups? Anyone want to follow up on that topic? Yes, Charles, please go ahead.
I think it was a great idea, but I think they were very quick to withdraw the COVID pass. I'd feel a lot safer if I was going somewhere, if everybody had a COVID pass, at least for a fortnight to 3 weeks, just see how things goes. Like I got my booster there about a month ago, and I got my COVID pass on the Friday. So literally on the Friday I got the COVID pass, and then on the Saturday I didn't need the pass at all, which seems to be a bit ridiculous. So I still put on my phone, but and hopefully I never will need it again. But I'd feel a lot safer that if they had kept the COVID pass going for at least another fortnight to 3 weeks, and then see how the numbers were going. But according to the Taoiseach, and the numbers are going to go up in the next few weeks. Yeah, right to open the country, but I would have been more restrained on wouldn't been as quickly as to get rid of the COVID pass. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Charles. Yes, there were a good bit of surprise elements there, which was probably good. I think overall it was actually good, as both of the speakers have alluded to. That's great. Thank you very much for your inputs. When Antoinette was saying about the return to work, that's the next topic that I would like to ask on. So there is a new legislation that the government is going to bring, which would actually help the employees to work from home, rather than, because the pandemic situation has kind of forced people to work from home. Many of them now prefer that work from home is a better option, and the government wants to introduce this. So what are your thoughts on work from home? Shane, are you okay to answer?
Yeah, I can answer
Thank
this. I suppose firstly, I love working from home, and of all the bad things about COVID, working from home is probably one of the best things that happened to me personally. But I do like going back into the office, but I don't see myself working in my job every day on site. So I would like a mix of blend of on-site working and off-site working. But I suppose the government legislation that was introduced today is nice, and it gives people hope that we can work from home. But on the other hand, like, it's very vague and open language to use. Well, I heard that on the radio. I suppose that's my opinion on it.
Thank you very much, Shane. And congratulations on your first short speech in Athlone Toastmasters. Welcome to Athlone Toastmasters.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And it was really an affable way of speaking, which we all enjoyed. Thank you so much. Anyone else wants to volunteer for that question? No? Okay. I wanted to go again into the contemporary topic, because that's what I think would help us to think more about the current world situation. So what are the thoughts on the tension that is building up in the world today? The Russia, Ukraine, and the whole Western power influence, NATO trying to come in, and Ireland actually has got a kind of influence as well. The Irish Sea was being used by Russia, it seems, to kind of put on the troops on the sea. So what are the thoughts on that? Maybe Daniel, would you like to answer. What are your thoughts? Thank you.
One moment, Mr. Table Topic Master. So, tension in the Ukraine. It does seem that the world has a vested interest, or at least Europe, NATO, as you mentioned, about not wanting, having the preservation of the government in Ukraine. I believe that's a good thing. I know American forces have been on alert to be able to put themselves in Europe or on the Ukrainian border as well, along with and while as an American, I am very apprehensive to see American troops put into places that they are unnecessary. The expansion of Russia may be an exception. It is when you have personnel extracted for embassies, and I'm losing my thought at 1 minute 53 seconds. I think that is a good thing to be able to keep those things in check. And that's where I'm going to leave my thought as I put up my red card.
Thank you very much, Daniel. You multitasked as well. You did your own timing. Thank you so
Yes.
much for your views on that. Anyone else wanted to have? Okay, Anna, please go ahead.
Thanks very much, Mr. Topics Master. So yes, I would like to weigh in because it's something that's currently on the minds and in the hearts of a lot of my friends at home. I'm Polish. So basically, a lot of them are actually afraid that there is going to be a war. They are afraid because they're very close to the border and they're not sure what to expect. And the things that are happening, things could just change so quickly that they just do not know what to expect. They don't know what to do. They don't know if there is anything that they can do in order to prevent it. Probably isn't. So it's just a very delicate situation, I think. And I also think that the media are trying to rise people. They're trying to make it sound worse than it probably is. And it is mostly at the moment a battle of the media, I suppose, between the media, the different sources and the different parties and the different points of view, etc. So it is a very precarious situation at the moment. And I do feel for a lot of people back home because they just don't know. The situation is just so delicate. So that's what I want to say. Thank you very much, Mr. Topics Master.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Anna. And it's good to know your personal perspective as well in terms of the country from where you're coming from and what their thoughts are. Thank you so much for that. I'll go to a different kind of theme now in terms of the quotes. And there is a very beautiful quote from Robert Frost. He says, "Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference." Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. What do you think of that, Derek? Are you okay to answer that?
Hi, so much, the Table Topic Master. So you said there was two roads in a wood and he traveled the road less traveled. Yes, he probably he to me, that kind of says that he followed his own path. This was a man that didn't kind of follow the crowd. He went his own way, and he probably found himself along the way. He probably found stuff that he was happy with. He kind of paddled his own canoe, as to say. He didn't follow the crowd. He followed his own instincts, and probably found a niche in life that he was happy with. And probably during that time, he just opened up a world of discovery for him, and he just made him the happier person. And he could look back and say, look, I traveled the road less traveled and made me a better person. So yeah, thanks so much. Thanks, Tabletop Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Derek. And welcome to Athlone Toastmasters as a new member. I think in the last meeting you were a guest. So huge round of applause to Derek.
Thank you.
Great contribution. Thank you so much. We have Shane and Derek as our new members, and we're really grateful that you joined our club. And we all can learn together as members of Athlone Toastmasters. And this is what the Toastmasters International creates. It creates an environment where we all together learn and together grow. It's a peer learning environment. So congratulations on joining Athlone Toastmasters Club, to both of you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Now we go to the next. Again, I would like to go for a quote. And this is from Albert Einstein. He has got lots of very nice, interesting, thought-provoking quotes. This one says that strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. What do you think about it, Francis?
Not to be a success, but rather a person of value. Yeah, there's a lot of meaning in it. I think if you have that image of success, it's very individual. A person of value is more open, is more a people's person, is more in touch with the needs of people. A person who seeks success is generally self-motivated, and his primary goal is what he can get out of it himself. So I would tend to go with the person of value, because that's the person who would be very humble, would be willing to listen, the kind of person who attracts people into his space. And when people go into his space, they will come out an awful lot happier. Now, I'm not saying by any means that success is a bad thing, but if you get caught up in it and you miss out on life because of it, it can be a very destructive thing. And I know that from my own experience. I wanted success, 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 success. And I paid a dear price for it. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't try to be successful now, but it's not my life. There's a lot more there. There's people. Now, in the past, it was me. I was a self-centered person. And life passes you by very quickly, and you realize what you've missed. So I would like to go with the person of value. And because that's generally when people see you, well, especially the ordinary person on the street, they don't tend to look at the success, they look at the person. And that person that they're looking at is one of value. I know when I was successful, it's incredible. The people who value when you value are the very same ones that aren't interested in you when you're successful. Now that may seem unusual, but I found it. Maybe it's because I became so overconfident and arrogant, I don't know. But no, the person of value is the person to be. With a little success with it, of course. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francis. Great answer. And I would say the affability of a person comes from the value that they give rather than the external success that they project. Success could bring a lot of millions of followers, but what matters more is how much link we have with one on an individual person to person basis. I think this is what happens when someone is very successful. They have millions of followers, but sometimes we see that unfortunately they go through depressive state as well, because they got everything, but then they don't understand what to do with that success. So there is a quote that I have heard that whatever you desire, if you get it, it's good. If you don't get it, it's still good. So that would be my next topic. What do you think about it? We have crossed all the non-speakers. What about Charles? What do you think about this? Whatever we desire, if we get it, it's good. If we don't get it, it's still good.
Could you say it one more time?
We have lots of desires, isn't it? That I want to get this, that, and the other thing. So
it's good to get it,
sometimes
but
we
it's
get
not-
the desire, sometimes we don't. So I'm saying that even if we don't get our desires, it's still good.
Well, it's all, I suppose, if you don't get it, you're always, ever what this is, there's always a hope that we can get it at some stage. And you can always aim in the future, what this is. Hopefully, in my case, it'd be the Lee McCarthy Cup. And in a couple of years' time, Offaly will be winning it all Ireland again, and I will get my hands on it again. So at the moment, I know it's not possible, but in the not so future, not so long future, hopefully, Offaly hurling will become good again, and I'll get my hands on the Lee McCarthy Cup. Is that what you're talking about?
Wasn't that what Lee McCarthy Club?
You talked about the thing that you desire, and probably you'll get your desire. So yeah, that's good. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Okay. Another interesting quote. If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. Shivan, what are your thoughts on that?
Thank you very much, Mr. Topics Master. Well, years ago, I remember there was a program on RT called Opportunity Knocks. And it was, I can't remember what the premise of the program was exactly, but I do know that it was something I think my parents enjoyed watching. I wasn't so much into it. I was quite young at the time. But if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. Yes, absolutely. I believe that that is a very good way to live, because similar to some of your previous topics, if there is something that you want, or if you know there's a particular road that you want to take in life, and somebody else is not presenting the opportunities to you to move further along that road or to get what it is you want, then I believe that it is you and only you that can give that opportunity to yourself. And if that means opening a door, building a door so that you can open it and walk through it, then so be it. That's what needs to be done. I think sometimes we sit back and we have a presumption that everybody out there is affable and everybody out there is wanting to the best for us, or we leave our destiny in other people's hands. But I think the most affable and reliable person that we'll ever meet in ourselves, in our lives, is ourselves, and having that faith and trust in yourself that you can create your own opportunities, that you can build doors, is probably the greatest power that there is out there. So I love your topic. And yes, absolutely. If opportunity doesn't knock, build your own door. Don't even wait to knock on it. Just swing it open and walk right through it. That's my philosophy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shivan. And this answer was given by District 71 table topics champion. Huge round of applause to Siobhan. She was the District 71 tables topic champion. So that would mean that hundreds of clubs and thousands of members across Northern UK and Ireland. Thank you very much, Siobhan, for your contribution. Anyone else wanted to speak on that topic? No. Okay, so a different type of question. What are a few fun ways to answer the boring question of what do you do for work? What are a few fun ways to answer the boring question of what do you do for work? Would you like to take it, Sharon?
What do I do for work? Well, what I do now started off by being served a writ by, would you believe, Hugh Hefner. That's an interesting way. I bet I got your attention there. I used to be a plus size model and represent women of all shapes and sizes and promote body positivity. And for one gimmicky calendar launch, we dressed up as big bunny girls. Hugh Hefner didn't like this at all because he had actually trademarked the bunny girl image. And after a TV appearance on a talk show in the UK, I stepped off the stage and was served a writ saying that I was not to use the bunny girl image ever again, or I'd be sued. This led me on to speaking up for plus size women all over the world. And I guess we can thank Hugh Hefner because he gave me a bit more fire in my belly to do so. So today I run an event that promotes body love, love thy body. I've written books, I've become a #1 best-selling author, and I coach people. I wouldn't exactly call it work, but it is very, very interesting how it all got started, thanks to Mr. Hefner himself. Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Sharon, and congratulations on the #1 best-selling author and coach and the whole wonderful things that you do on a regular basis, and being part of Athlone Toastmasters and being a really proactive member. Thank you so much for that. We have 4 more minutes, so I would say we could actually go for one more topic. And this one again is a fun type of topic. If animals could talk, which would be the most charming animal? If animals could talk, which animal would be the most charming animal? Would you like to take it, Monica? We are not able to hear you.
Now, a bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, the volume is low, I think.
In this way?
Yeah, this is better, yes.
Okay, yeah, sorry. So, yeah, what was your question? If animals could talk, who?
Which would be the most charming animal?
Which will be the most charming? Oh, I'm a dog lover, so I think dogs will be excellent talkers, and yeah, a part of they are a very good company. So yeah, I think they will always say nice words when I'm coming to home. I miss you, probably jumping and just telling me how much he misses me during the day and all the things that he wants to do with me, games. So I think, yeah, dogs will be one of those animals. Also, the birds I like a lot. The canaries, small birds, and yeah, they will be singing me for me in the morning, probably doing and telling lovely words and songs. And yeah, so that's what I think about this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Malika. Great answer. Anyone else wanted to volunteer? No? Okay, I guess we are nearly on time now. So I would like to hand over the virtual gavel to the Toastmaster of the evening, Sanjeev. Thank you very much, Sanjeev.
Yeah, thanks, Somesh. So I think now we have time to take a break, and post break we have some other speaker meeting. Okay, so right now it's 8:54. So we'll be back by 9:05. Is it okay for everyone? Okay, thank you.
That's perfect. Thanks very much, Sanjeev.
Thank you. And the first speeches, the speaker is Sharon D. And for second speaker, the speaker is Monica. And the evaluator for this two speaker, for first speaker, Anna is the evaluator. And for the second speaker, Francis is the evaluator. So before starting the first speech, I would request Anna to introduce, to share a few words about the first speaker. Yeah, over to you, Anna.
Thank you very much, Sanjeev. Our first speaker is Sharon with her third speech. Well, project-wise anyway. It is a speech entitled Coming Out, and it is from Research and Presenting Project. And the purpose of Sharon's speech tonight is to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. I look forward to hearing what Sharon has to say. And Sharon, the stage is yours. Thank you very much.
For 2 years, stay at home, stay safe, protect your loved ones. And then 6 a.m. Saturday, the 22nd of January, most public health measures in Ireland were to be removed. Fellow Toastmasters and very welcome guests, we are coming out. Honestly, my first thought really, when I heard this, was for how long? Will there be another lockdown again? And then my second thought was, I've actually been emotionally blackmailing my teenagers for nearly 2 years, telling them they must keep Granny safe. They must keep their distances. The COVID is a real thing. When my 10-year-old came up to me and asked me, Mammy, does this mean COVID's gone away? It really hit home. No, darling, it hasn't. And if I was feeling this way, how was other people feeling? How are you feeling? I took to Twitter to do some research, and I'm just going to share my findings with you now. I asked on Twitter, what is your priorities coming out of lockdown? And I gave just 4 options. 1 was to earn money. After all, we've lost a good bit of our income for some. I also left an option to have a social life. Look, we've been locked up, zooming around the world, but not really leaving our house at all. The third option I put up was to find love. Thinking of all the singletons out there that haven't had a chance to socialize. And then my 4th option was travel. After all, it's all I hear people saying now they want to do. 664 wonderful people participated in my survey. And you can see there from the percentages I present to you, 49% most priority was travel. But I suppose what I did was just a little bit cheeky, because I gave 4 kind of positive options and purposely left off the one. What was the biggest comments I got back? The priority was, of course, staying safe. Comments were also added, followed by seeing the family, keeping hold of lessons that have been learned, saving the environment, and learning to live again. So for my next piece of research, I opened question to the people on Facebook. And my question was the same. What is your priority coming down of lockdown? I received managing time, appreciating the little things, staying safe, making goals, living in the here and now, learning to be around people again, relationships, and visiting family. I then went on to speak to 5 people. I interviewed them. One was a lady who had been living with her long-term partner. Although during lockdown, they didn't agree on certain rules to do with COVID. She wanted to keep her elderly mother safe. He didn't believe that COVID was a real thing. They ended up parting their ways. She's 40 years old and now considering freezing her eggs because she's scared time will run out before she meets a new partner. I spoke to another man who lost both his parents to COVID. I spoke to a mother who'd lost her son to suicide. The letter blamed COVID. And 2 people that went out at the weekend. One had a blast and just had the 90. The crack was 90 is what she said. And the other one took a look at everyone without their masks and left the pub. Tom Hannon said, tolerance and celebrations of individuals' differences is the fire that fuels lasting love. So how are we coming out? I would suggest be kind to yourself and others. Go at your own pace. Get information and listen to it from the right sources. Discuss any changes you are feeling with others. Make time to relax. Tell someone how you feel. Plan social occasions. Find routines where you can. Accept others' boundaries and set your own. We've been so out of routine and so out of sync. It is time to develop a new routine, but it's time to move slowly according to how we feel and how you feel. Don't be embarrassed to tell others, that's a little bit too close for me. Or, would you like a hug? Let's be kind to each other. Let's get out and slowly build this in a safe way and enjoy that the restrictions are finally being lifted. Lastly, remember just how amazing you are. You have survived a global pandemic. Congratulations.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Sharon, for the speech. Your speech was really motivational, and it's really a very realistic, which the individual can apply in his life. So now we'll move for the next speaker today, which is Monica. And the speaker for evaluators, second speaker evaluator is Francis. So I would request Francis to share a few words about the Monica speech. Over to you, Francis.
Okay. The project is a 5 to 7 minute speech, and it incorporates feedback from the first speech into the second, which was a 5 to 7 minute speech, and serving as a speech evaluator. So those are the three what the project includes. And the best of luck, Monica. I'm sure you'll make my evaluation very easy.
Thank you very much, Francis. Yeah. Sorry, I just want to share my screen. I saw the option 1 minute ago. I don't see it anymore.
There would be a share option in front of your screen. You can see there, green color.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was looking for those in the more. Okay. Yeah. Can you see? Let me know if you can see my screen. I can't.
We see slide 5.
Okay. Now, can you see that one?
Yes, slide 1, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night. So my speech is about good rest, good sleep. So with the pandemic, the issues that came with this were a lot and make us change a lot in our routines. So there were loss of jobs, death of people, sick people. We have to move, most of us, to work remotely or do some studies remotely. And all these activities already changed our routines and our ways to sleep. So even for people who used to be a very good sleeper before the pandemic, during the pandemic, got a lot of sleep issues. And according to the sleep psychologist, Bridget Lady of the Insomnia Clinic in Dublin, the insomnia increased from 15% to 40% during this pandemic time. So I just want to talk a little bit about what happened during the sleep. So there are a lot of hypotheses that demonstrate that biological sleep functions are associated to recover, restoration, energy conservation, plasticity, learning, memory. And this memory is not just the one that we have in our brain. So this is also some immunological memories. For example, the vaccines rely on those immunological memories to work properly. Another very important point is the two-way relationship between the immune system and the sleep. So the immune system takes advantage of this when we sleep to repair all the damaged cells, the fight viruses and infections. What happens if we don't have a good sleep? So we all have an internal biological clock, and that is synchronized with the rhythms of the nature, no? That means day and night, or light and darkness. And if there is an alteration in this internal biological clock and the natural environment cycles, this is called a chrono disruption. And this chrono disruption is directly associated to increase and accelerate some pathologies like the cognitive damage, cardiovascular disease, some types of cancer, metabolic disorders like diabetes, depression, accelerated aging, infertility, obesity, and neurodegenerative disease. And with this point, according to Barcelona Beta Brain Center, which is an institute specialized in the prevention of Alzheimer, they mentioned that there have a lot of studies when they found that this chronic insomnia generates some damage in the brain and that are deteriorated in early stages of the Alzheimer. That means that if we don't have a good night, sometimes we are going to get all this disease, you know, because usually we used to have bad nights once in a while. But if we are not getting a good sleep and waking many times during the night and don't get a sleep quickly, or we have early morning awakenings that happen 3 or more times per week and during 3 months or more. So that can be cataloged as a chronic insomnia. And in that case, we will need to check a specialist and take care of, prevent all these issues. But yeah, the question is, how can we improve our night's sleep? So I was reading a book just at the end of the last year. This is Learn to Rest from Jana Fernandez. And she mentions some of these points, like avoid noise is one of the noise is an enemy of the sleep. And yeah, it's mentioned to avoid noises that are above the 45 decibels. Just to have a consideration, 53 decibels is the regular noise that we can find in an office, no? So because the exposure to the chronic noise during the day or for many days, for a long time, it will affect directly our health. And it will change our rhythms also. The other thing is avoid the artificial lights, especially our eyes detect a lot of types of lights, but especially this blue light that is emitted by the sun or by all these screens, TVs, cell phones, tablets, and so on. So that the purpose of this blue light is to is contraproducent to our sleep because it suppresses the production of this melatonin, which is an hormone that is used to tell our brain to go to bed. No? So it's better if we try to avoid that at least 90 minutes before going to bed. Also, another point that is mentioning is the caloric restriction. This is recommended to have a fast between 10 to 12 hours at night to have a good rest, reduction of stress levels. And in this is mentioned that it's better for us to prioritize our tasks per day. And for that, we can use a very useful tool, which is this Eisenhower matrix. Probably most of you already know that, but this is basically how to divide our activities that we want to achieve during the day, and the ones that are the most important and urgent, the ones that are we can delegate, the ones that we can do later, the ones that are really not very important. Also, another point is the discipline. You know? So if we already find our number of priorities that we want to do during the day, it's important to create habits. And for that, there is another book, which is Atomic Habits from James Clear, that is very good. And I recommend that if you can read it and you want to introduce small habits to your day-to-day life to improve your sleep. This could be turn off the TV at least 2 hours before go to bed. Just another point to mention quickly is the diet and sport. We need to think just in the food that we are eating. So this is a common sense that we need to apply. So thinking in food and not in products that are already processed. Just think that 80% of cells of our immune systems lives in the digestive tube, and this is very related to how our body works, and it could affect the sleep in sometimes because what we eat and when we eat, it has a different impact in our bodies. Then disaccelerate and disconnect from the things. That's something very important and something hard to do because nowadays we are we like to work with the speed, and we like to do a lot of things in one day, but it's not good for our health. If we do that for a long time, that will directly affect our mental and physical health. So it's good to disconnect once in a while, just do nothing. And before going to bed, especially, just disaccelerate. So start to do reading, have some routines to relax, meditation, things like that. And the last point is just enjoy the life. So that's very simple. And according to one Irish proverb, it says that a good laugh and a long sleep are the best cures in the doctor's book. So yeah, thank you very much. And I just want to tell you that remember that the quality of your days depends on your quality of your nights. Thank you.
Thanks, Monica, for a wonderful speech. Yeah, this is one of the very common problem of today's people who are suffering from insomnia and sleeplessness. Okay, so now we'll request Anna to evaluate the first speaker. Yeah, Anna.
Thanks very much, Sanjeev. Could we just please give 1 minute to everyone to give feedback to Sharon first, Sanjeev, and then to Monica as our speakers on the chat?
Yeah, sure.
Daniel, would you please give us 1 minute for everyone to give feedback to Sharon first, please?
It's rolling right now.
Thanks very much. And if we could have another minute there for everyone to give feedback to Monica.
Where the heck is it? Time.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Daniel. Could I get the time for Sharon's speech, please, before I continue with my evaluation?
Sharon's speech was 6 minutes, 40 seconds.
Spot on. Thanks very much, Daniel. And thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Sharon, thank you for sharing your speech with us. It was a well-delivered and a well-prepared speech. You picked a very relatable, a very up-to-date topic, and you definitely captured my attention. The purpose of your speech, Sharon, was to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic, and you achieved that spectacularly. Not only did you employ some exceptional vocabulary, such as emotional blackmail, but you've also utilized rhetorical questions. And they are one of those grammatical structures that always work well because they really encourage people to pay attention to the speaker. You also succeeded at grasping and keeping the attention of the audience by talking about something so relevant to us all, but also because even though it was a research project, it was also quite personal with the sad yet lovely stories that you've told us. It was fabulously done, superbly researched. You clearly put so much effort and thought into this. And I know this not just from your speech, but also because I've seen your Facebook posts looking for speech ideas during the week. So well done on that, Sharon. You used Twitter and you used Facebook, two social media outlets with two different target audiences. And you've received plenty of responses that allowed you to create a general kind of pool of believable answers. I didn't see you employ many hand gestures, but your voice was well modulated and it was clear. You used speed well and you were easily understood. I thought it was particularly effective the way you kept your eyes focused on the audience, and I could tell that you were really speaking to us all. Your speech was clearly divided into sections. Different parts of your presentation were clearly indicated, of your speech were clearly indicated, which made it easy for me to follow your train of thought. This, despite the fact that I wasn't entirely familiar with the answers that you chose for your polls. You engaged the audience and you focused our attention on what you were talking about with the tone of your voice, with the multiple rhetorical questions, multiple calls to action, such as it's time to be kind to each other, let's go out and enjoy it. It was fabulous. You ended your speech with a motivational ending to be kind, slow down, get your news from reliable sources, stay safe, do what you think is right, etc. And the last two sentences of your speech were incredibly motivational. They were uplifting, just a fantastic ending, a simple congratulations. That's all it takes. If I could make one suggestion, it would be to consider preparing a presentation next time to go with your speech. I feel that it would have made it easier for me to keep track of the answers and the data while listening to you at the same time attentively. To summarize, Sharon, I was very impressed by your delivery. I saw some great things in your speech, and I also see a potential for continued growth as you focus on things like hand gestures and more variety in terms of presenting how you present your topic. So keep up the good work on vocal variety, a wide range of vocabulary, and the choice of interesting, relatable topics. And I don't know about everyone else, although I think I can make a guess, but I feel much better after your speech, Sharon. Thank you very much, and congratulations on a brilliantly delivered and prepared speech. I look forward to hearing more. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anna, for your evaluation. So now we'll move to the second speech evaluation, which is by Francis. So I'd request Francis to share his feedback evaluation on the second speech.
Sorry, now before I do, what was the time for Monica's speech, please?
Monica's, from the time she opened her mouth, it was 10:37, but with the technical difficulties, it kind of averaged out to be about the actual speaking time was probably 9 minutes.
9 minutes, okay. Okay, Monica, plenty of detail. It was definitely very, very, a lot of research and very well organized, great slides, and you used the slides very well, the visual aids. I'm really impressed with the closing comment. You could even have put that at the start. The quality of the day depends on the quality of the night. Now that would have been a great way to open it and a great way to finish it. But it would have got the audience interested from the start and has taken, and they'll leave now interested. They'll see their day and they'll look after themselves during the day, because they know if they don't, they won't have a good night's sleep. So that was a very, very powerful conclusion. You achieved the general and specific purpose of your speech, and it was clear and balanced and easy to understand. It was very topical. It was aimed, and that is the great thing about Toastmasters, picking a topic that everyone understands and that everyone could relate to. And there was an awful lot to be learned by what you said there tonight. You, as I said, you were clear. You also like your speech, as I said, was very informative. It was very well structured, and it did have a good body. It had a good opening, a good body, and a good conclusion. But if there was one recommendation that I would have, is the time. What you had was too much information. If you could have had 2 bullet points for each particular subject, like you did speak about what happens during sleep. Now, you could have maybe had 3 pointers and spoke maybe 3 sentences or something on them. Like you went into incredible detail. You researched it in detail and you gave us what you got. And really, if you could have summarized a lot, you needn't necessarily go over the 9 minutes, and you wouldn't have had to rush through the speech. There was an awful lot there. In fact, it was the kind of speech you could do over 2 nights. There was so much detail there. There's no doubt about that. You also taught us how to improve our sleep, to avoid noise, artificial lights, to reduce stress. And that perhaps is one of the most important things, reducing stress, because stress is one of the worst possible things you can bring to bed with you. So once again, it was a good speech, great detail, great research, well organized, and you used the slides very well. But just slow down a bit and have less detail. And so it'll give you, you don't have to rush through this particular speech. So, as I said, your speech was very informative and it was well structured, and you moved through the speech well. And it was easy to understand. It was straightforward, simple for any person to understand. All in all, great speech. But the next speech, don't put as much detail in it. Everything was relevant. Everything was informative. There just was too much in one speech, and you rushed through it. So that took a lot of work, and I have to credit you for that. You obviously spent a lot of time doing that speech, and it's great to see that in Toastmasters. But sometimes less is more. And congratulations, Monica. There was a lot of hard work within, and that was very, very obvious. And look forward to your next speech. Just slow down a bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis, for the such a great evaluation. So now we are moving to our next part, that is the evaluation from grammarian. So I would request Antoinette to share her grammarian report.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And here is my report on the meeting this evening. And I counted the word affable was used 4 times, Samish and Siobhan. And if somebody else used it, I'm sorry I missed it, but it was used about 4 or 5 times. So that was great. Overall, we didn't use too many crutch words, which was great, but I did notice a few as and end, and I was guilty myself probably. We all kind of, there's a gap, end, we sort of let it hang out there a bit. So a few ends and likes, but not too bad at all. Some nice phrases then and interesting words that were used throughout the meeting, like paddle your own canoe. The greatest power there is to build your own door. And we were advised to live in the here and now and be kind to each other. And the crack was 90, which I love to hear. Great to think we're going back to these times where the crack was 90. We heard about our internal biological clock and early morning wakeness. And another nice phrase, like a good laugh and a long sleep are the best cures. And I really love the line, the quality of your day depends on the quality of your night. And I think that's something that I'll remember from the meeting. So overall, we had a fabulous meeting tonight, and our affable Toastmaster put all of our members and guests at ease. So that's all from my report. Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Antoinette, for the grammarian report. So now I'd request for the timer to present his timer report. Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. For the table topics, we started out with Antoinette at 2 minutes, 13 seconds. Charles at 1 minute, 12 seconds. Shane spoke for 47 seconds. Some guy named Dan spoke for 2 minutes, 11 seconds. Anne spoke for 1 minute, 15 seconds. Derek, 57 seconds. Francis, 2 minutes, 27 seconds. Charles spoke again for 1 minute. Siobhan for 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Somesh for Shane, sorry, 1 minute 39, and Marka for 55 seconds. Sharon, with her speech, spoke for 6 minutes, 40 seconds. The totality of Marka's presentation was 10:37, but as I said earlier, the speaking portion was 9 minutes. The evaluation for Anna was about 3 minutes, 20 seconds, and Francis's evaluation was 4 minutes, 28 seconds. That is the report.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel, for the time report. So now we'll request Simon to present the overall this general evaluation of this meeting.
Thank you very much, Sanjeev. It's my pleasure to present the general evaluation tonight because this has been a wonderful meeting. That quotation in the agenda at the beginning of the night, keep your face always to the sunshine and the shadows will fall behind you. Toastmasters is always just such a blast of sunshine. It's you always gain so much from it. There's rarely, never any shadows to be found anywhere around here. So fitting and wonderful for this time that we're living in. So just to start, when I arrived in the Zoom room, there was a very warm atmosphere, I have to say. There was a very strong sense of positivity. It was absolutely wonderful to see some new faces as well. It's great to have some new members on board. So welcome, Derek and Shane. Wonderful to see you and have you along. What you'll gain from Toastmasters is really, really priceless and definitely worth spreading the news to any friends that you have about it. So firstly, then to comment on our Toastmaster for the night, Sanjeev, fair play to you. It's wonderful to see you being in the club for such a short time and stepping up to take such an important role, because every role is important, but the role of Toastmasters, that there is a certain amount of pressure on, because really you're keeping the whole meeting in check, and you did a fantastic job for your first time stepping forward. You began by introducing the role holders. It was so obvious that you had put preparation and done a bit of research into the role. That was very clear. You were very precise, and you kept your introduction of the role holders very brief, which I think is very appropriate. It was very appropriate for your first time. And you also were very prompt in beginning the second half of the meeting. You know, there was no messing, just straight down to business. And we know that in Toastmasters, one of the things that really appeals to me about Toastmasters, one of the many things, is timing. We aim to start on time, we aim to finish on time. So you were keeping that well in check. I also loved the way you had the positive comments on each of the speakers. You did just a very brief, but a summary that showed that you had listened carefully. That's a really good skill. So well done on that. One recommendation I'd have for you, Sanjeev, is just now your position on the camera at the moment is perfect, is great. It's something we've learned during Toastmasters, is how to position ourselves on the camera right in the middle, I think. But when we started off, I think you were looking down into it. It wasn't probably the best position. Also, I would say maybe to introduce one speaker at a time in the second half. You introduced both speakers, but I'd say just one at a time and let the speaker go ahead with their speech and then introduce the second. I have to say, I loved the way Anna, I don't usually comment, well, I do comment on evaluators, sorry, but I was wondering when Sanjeev hadn't given the minute for everybody to fill in the evaluations for our speakers, I was wondering, and I suppose it's something we can sneakily do on Zoom, we could send a message and nobody would know. And I considered, would I do that? But then I thought maybe this is a point to be discussed and to be highlighted, that we have to allow that minute, especially on Zoom, because the speaker really is entitled to that feedback. So, and I have to say, I admired the way you came in, and before you went ahead with your evaluation, you recommended it. And I think this shows the real supportive atmosphere there is here within the club, that we can step forward and do that in a safe, supportive environment. So well done, Sanjeev. With regard to the grammarian of the night, Antoinette, a fabulous job yet again. And I loved the way you explained your role very concisely and clearly at the beginning of the night. Lovely choice of word. I'm surprised it wasn't used more often, a lovely positive word. And I loved the way when you were given your report, how you don't only focus on how many ums and ahs, the negative side of our speaking, but you really highlight and go to town on the positive aspects, highlighting some of the beautiful language that was used to all of us. Samesh, you did a fantastic job again as topics master, a wide variety of topics. Lovely to keep it current with what's on our minds at the moment, but also inspiring us to think about different quotations, which is always really, really good. So we went from COVID restrictions to the road less traveled, to opening doors, opportunities. There was a real note of hope in the topics. And I think it went from kind of the darker, maybe the shadow of COVID into opportunities, the sunshine of opportunities. So really well done on that. One recommendation I would have, Samesh, is, this is only my personal opinion, is I do think we should keep the introduction to topics very brief, and that would provide more time for the speakers answering topics to answer. You did a great job of ensuring that everybody spoke, but I don't think it's always necessary for us to comment as topics master, to comment on the topics ourselves. So then with regard to the evaluators, we had two top class evaluators here tonight. Both Anna and Francis referred to the objectives of the speeches and the fact that the speakers had achieved the objectives, which is a really strong sign of an advanced evaluator. Anna used so many positives. She used extremely positive language, superbly, objectives achieved superbly, fabulous. I loved the way she kind of connected what the positives of Sharon's speech to lessons that we can all learn about rhetorical devices, hand gestures, structure, engaging the audience. There was so much learning there for all of us. And the structure, again, of Anna and Francis's evaluations was perfect. In Toastmasters, just for the benefit of the new members, with evaluations, what we try and do, there's two particular formats that we can follow. We usually do 80-20, 80% positive and 20% slightly not so much negative as a recommendation, or also alternatively a sandwich effect where you'd have a positive at the beginning, a positive at the end, the two slices of bread. And then in the middle, you might have the recommendation. So we don't finish on a negative, we finish on a positive. And there was examples of that for both Francis and Sharon, or not, for Francis and Anna. And then with regard to Francis, yeah, plenty of positives. Again, you mentioned about the detail in the research, the slides, how you liked the closing statement, and how you recommended then. You both had recommendations, which you would expect of evaluators. One small recommendation I would have for you, Francis, is there was a little bit of repetition at the end, I think, of your evaluation that you said a few things that you had said previously. Perhaps that's not necessary, and that would have, if you'd left it out, you wouldn't have gone over time maybe. Yeah. And I think it was just great to hear such top class evaluations tonight, especially with the evaluation contest coming up soon. There's going to be some very strong contenders. So my recommendation to both Anna and Francis would be put your names down now for the evaluation contest. So in summary, I really thought fantastic meeting. Again, great positivity, great energy, great element of sunshine in the whole meeting. And I'd like to say kudos to Shane and Derek for both speaking up. It's great to get it stuck in there as quick and as soon as possible and just keep talking. And it's just amazing what Toastmasters will do. I loved your expression, Derek, paddle your own canoe. Reminded me of my mother. That was one of her favorite statements that she used to say. Love many, trust few, always paddle your own canoe. So well done, everyone. Wonderful meeting again tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Antoinette, for the wonderful general evaluation of the meeting. You have really captured each and every moment of the meeting so nicely. So with this, we are at the end of this meeting. So now I'd request the President to share his remarks. And over to you, Sumesh.
Thank you very much, Sanjeev. Huge round of applause to Sanjeev for taking the Toastmasters role for the first time and executing it very well. Congratulations. This is what Toastmasters is all about. We join, we speak, we do the roles, and then we take the leadership roles as well within the club. This is the second phase of, so generally the Toastmasters year starts in July, and from July to December, we have one phase, and then from January to June, we have the next phase. So the next 6 months has started, and another aspect of Toastmasters is people can take club leadership roles, all the roles that we have: president, vice president education, vice president membership, vice president public relations, sergeant at arms, secretary, treasurer. All these roles are available. And again, these are learning opportunities. When we take on these roles, we learn how to lead the club to success. We work together as a team. And I love this quote, together everyone achieves more. And that's what Toastmasters is all about. We all come in together as a group and we all collaborate together. And in doing so, each and everyone achieves more than we would have done individually. With that message, I would like to close the meeting and thank you so much for your time and your amazing contribution today. Thank you very much.